Okay, it looks like we are now live. Ooh. Yeah, just a little feedback coming through your microphone there, Aisha, but not a worry. That seems all sorted now. But yeah, hey to those who have joined so far. Let me actually also get a screen share up. So long, entire screen. There we go. Let's do the thing. So you should be able to see my screen. Should see a big blue kudos written across the front of it. But yeah, so I will chat for a bit, but we'll wait another minute or two just for the last. Looks like there's a few more registrants who aren't here just yet, so we'll give them a few more moments. But welcome to the fourth session of the Kudos and Showcode Blockchain Development Program. Today, we are having a look at an extension of what we were doing last week. So last week, we saw from our dev rangers, Antrix and Aisha, they showed how to actually get the smart contract going on Kudos, or how to build your first smart contract. And so how to work from the template smart contract over into the from a template and into a working smart contract for a messaging app, or dApp rather. And today we're going to actually see how that works from the front end side. So we're seeing a few more people joining. So welcome to those who are stopping by. As always, we're also around in the chat, so feel free to message in the chat if you have any questions during the session, and we should I'll be able to watch that chat as well during some of this. So Aisha's gonna in a bit take us through some of that dApp front end and get your messaging dApp working in a front end, so that we've got a nice user experience for people to actually be able to use this. So we're seeing a few more sliding in here. Still not quite the number registered, but we will see if a few more stroll in over the next minute or so, and then we can get things going. But yeah, also towards the end of the session, I'm going to show you how to deploy your dApp front end onto the CudoCompute platform as well. So that should be quite fun. Also any of you who are joining this program can get some computing power for free for the duration of the program to test out that front end on as well. But we'll go through all of that in a moment anyway. With that, we're 5 past, so I think it's probably a good time to actually start the program. Can see a good number have joined. So yeah, so hopefully a lot of you have watched back on the previous sessions and are all caught up with what we've been doing so far. But yeah, for those of you who've just joined, welcome to session 4 of the Kudos and Showcode Blockchain Development Program. And so yeah, I've got a little slideshow here. So what we're doing today is all about building dApp on Kudos. So you would have seen in the last session, and that what I was chatting about a moment ago, you built the smart contract for the underlying blockchain architecture of your decentralized application. And so yeah, a dApp consists of its 2 parts, the blockchain smart contract and a front end, in our case, a cloud-hosted front end, which I'll be showing you on CudoCompute towards the end of the session. And so as I say, today's session, we're going to be building that front end and hosting that front end. So Aisha's going to run through the way to get from a Create Cosmos app template over to a working front end for this specific contract, and then I'll show you how to host that onto CudoCompute. There's also the QR code and the link in the corner that gets you to a lot of the dev resources there. So the dev resources being the first button on that Linktree link there. So feel free to head to that, where there are some instructions on how to do things on Compute, and also resources pointing you to things like the Create Cosmos app there as well. So we will be using all of that in a moment. So short presentation, so that we can then hand over to Aisha, who's going to run through the dApp front end side of things here with us today. So Aisha, if you're ready, I am going to stop sharing my screen. And if you want to take things from here, also to those of you, I will be around in the chat if you have any questions, if I can answer anything about what Aisha's doing on screen, or if I can get you any useful links while we're going along. So feel free to ask questions there. But yeah, over to you, Aisha.
Thanks, Ollie. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen now. Right, so I'm sharing my entire screen. So the first thing I need to do is I'm going to create a directory called I want to create a directory called okay, I'm going to create a directory called Kudos messaging front end, and from directory Kudos messaging contract front end, or let me just put dApp, so you know this is the front end of the dApp. And inside of this directory, I'm going to run this command. And what this command does is that, okay, let me first introduce you to the Create React app so Create Cosmos app. So the Create Cosmos app is a tool that makes it very easy for you to create your front end the front end to your smart contract on any Cosmos SDK based blockchain. So it makes it very easy for you to scaffold your smart contracts front end. And also it has tooling that makes it easy for you to create types. So this is based on Next and TypeScript. It has toolings and libraries that make it easy for you to generate your types. If you're familiar with TypeScript, you know that things are usually typed in TypeScript. Variables are usually typed in TypeScript. So one of the advantages of using this tooling is that apart from making it easy to integrate with different Cosmos SDK based blockchains, it also has the tooling for you to create types and even clients, as in functions from your smart contract code. Remember the last time we talked about when we developed our smart contract, I showed you this part of the smart contract, this schema file, and I changed this schema.rs file, and I changed. Please, can you see my screen very well, or should I increase the?
Might
the
be
size?
good to make it a little bit bigger there, Aisha.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it should be better now.
That looks about right for me. If anyone can't see anything in the chat, just feel free to ping in the chat there.
Yeah, inside of the schema.rs file, this is where we added, so because when we edited the base contract that gets created for us whenever we bootstrap our smart contracts using the Blast CLI tool. So when we did that, we saw that there was some red as we were updating or changing some things in our smart contract. We saw that there were some errors here. So, and we edited this file. What this JSON.schema, also remember, while we were defining the messages that our smart contract respond to, we added this JSON schema derive inside of this I would call it the inside of the derived attributes. I'll just call it attributes. That could be wrong. So, and what this JSON schema does is that it helps us to create JSON schema files here, as you would see here. And what this does, or how this is important, if you've developed smart contracts on Ethereum in the past, you know that there is a smart contract ABI. In case of Cosm Wasm, it's JSON schema file. So it describes I'm going to show you a sample. Okay, I've not created, but when I create a smart contract using the Create Cosmos smart contract front end using Create Cosmos app, you're going to see that we are going to use this JSON schema to create our types. So that is important. And I'm going to deploy this smart contract here because this is what we're going to use, especially since I've edited some part of it. So I'm going to push this code onto GitHub later in the future, and you can reference it. But for now, I want to quickly deploy the smart contract. And I'm going to do that by... So firstly, I want to open... To make things fast, I want to open the same contract. Yeah, I think I have it here. I'm opening the same thing. So I want to open another that has the deploy. I want to open another smart contract that has the deploy script already. So sorry. So it's loading because it's I'm using WSL. It takes some time to load. So inside of my script, I'll just do I have this? Okay, this is the deploy script messaging. Yeah, I'm going to copy this and run my deploy. So blast, I think it's blast run scripts deploy. Okay, I need to turn on my node by running blast node start. And also I would like to specify so it's starting my node. I would also like to specify inside of my blast config file, I have to specify I already specified it. I already specified the address for the testnet RPC node. So it's taking a while to start, and this is a little bit out of the scope of this class, but I discovered my already deployed smart contract wouldn't work for this method that we're using, so I need to deploy another one. Network. So this is to tell the blast command that I want to run it on the testnet. I want to run the script on the testnet and not on my local node. So it's okay. Cannot find private accounts. I'm going to copy that as well. I think I have. So to run your smart contract to run whatever code on your testnet using Kudos Blast, you need to have your private account JSON file. So usually when you run, I'm going to copy this code, and because I'm showing you this because I'm not using this account on any of my private accounts, or I mean on any of my accounts with fonts. doesn't contain any of my accounts with fonts. So I'm going to paste this file inside of my root folder. So let me paste here. Okay. Okay, so it says insufficient fees. Okay, to save time, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to deploy this on my local node, just to save time. Yeah, I think that's best.
I can send you some testnet fees very quickly if you'd like.
Okay.
If you just copy your address into, and this is the same for anyone watching, feel free to send your address to me on either the showcode or the Kudos Discord server, and I can send you some test tokens there. But yeah, if you want to just send it in
Okay,
Discord.
so I'm going to send you on Discord.
Sure.
I'll just put it in the chat. I think this Discord is taking a while to load because I have a lot of things running. So
Sure, the chat works.
Says must think. Oops. Yeah, I've sent it.
Cool. And that should have sent.
Okay.
So you should have some testnet tokens.
500. Okay, so sometimes when you want to deploy your smart contract, you would notice that it might say the gas is insufficient. So you would have to increase this from whatever it was, and just try it out and see which one works. So I'm going to add 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I hope that's not too much. Yeah. So I'm going to run the command again. Okay, so it says insufficient. Let me just. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay, so the smart contract has been deployed. I'm going to copy this smart contract address. And if you're following along, so just if you're following along, I'm going to paste the smart contract address inside of the chat. Okay, so yeah, that's that. So now onto our smart contract. Where is it? Let me check what. Yeah. Okay, I think I can do that from my terminal here. So I'm going to create a. Let me go into this. Okay, I told you here that I wanted to follow. So I already talked about the Create Cosmos app. And you can usually, after installing, what you need to do is first install. I think Oli shared the npm command here. So you run npm install create Cosmos app. And after running npm install create Cosmos app, you can create Cosmos app by just running the command create Cosmos app, or using this alias CCP, and put the name of your smart contract, the name of your app. But in my own case, I want to name the app, let's just call it messaging app. So, and another thing that we're trying to do here is that we're trying to use a template of cousin wasm. Let me erase this because I think I've erased some part of it. So what this does is it says create Cosmos app with the name of the app as, we're just going to name this messaging app, and following the template here. So the example that we are following, or the template that we are following, is that of cousin wasm. So I need to, because I'm using WSL, I need to use NVM use table. I need to state what version of node I'm using all the time. I think I forgot to do that. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is I'm cloning into this app name, or into this directory, and once that is done, I'm going to open. So I already have another directory created. I'm just trying to show you how it's done. So I'm going to save us time, I'm going to open a directory we already have in place. So I think this is it. All right. So just to show you what happens, I'm going to run the command. So this is the npm use table once more, and I'm going to run the command npm run dev. So this opens up our app on, this is the app you get right out of the box. So this opens, we can now open our app on this URL, localhost 300. It's still loading. So just to save and make things fast, I'm going to close this for now. I think so many things are running on my system. This is still starting up. Okay, you know what? I'm going to reload my WSL because it says it's trying to connect. So I might have to reload or rerun all those commands. Upgrade my system. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close all of this and reopen my VS Code because it seems to be acting up. So we'll use CudoCompute. I'm sorry for the delays.
All good. I sometimes end up fighting with WSL as well.
Yeah. And I noticed it's been happening too often. Like several times today, I've had to restart my VS Code. I don't even know why this is happening. So sorry. Okay. I think the best thing to do is maybe use my local system because time is going. So I'm going to do that. Instead of using WSL, I'm going to open a new window and run the same command. But I would use npx this time. So this is crazy. I'm trying to run away from this. So just git bash. Npx. So I'm trying to run the same command in my in my local system, instead of using WSL, since it's a front end app, and I'm not using Rust or even the Kudos node. So I think this might be the best workaround, because I don't know what is happening on my system, and I'm so sorry about that. I'm not even getting any feedback. Only I think I might need to restart my system.
Sure. Okay, cool.
Time is going and nothing is happening.
Yeah, so in that case, what we can do is we can actually just switch things up around a little bit. So I'll show you what I was going to show at the end of the session anyway, in terms of deploying the front end. But
Okay.
I will just be using a little simple front end rather than the one you're showing how to build at the moment. So so while you reboot, I'll start on that, and we can get through that, and then we can see how to actually build that front end when you get back. But that means over to me. So let me also just get myself ready here. So what I am going to do is I'm going to use a different template from this same Create Cosmos app as Aisha has been using. But I'm just going to use the send tokens template. It's a little bit more simple, but it allows us to show the deployment process for what we're up to at the moment. So let me just get a screen share up and running. So you may have to bear with me because I also haven't practiced this one beforehand, but we'll see how we go. So again, here we are in the Create Cosmos app repository from the awesome Cosmology team. So there are links. So you install that with npm, like Aisha mentioned, and there is a command over here, the send tokens example. So I'm just going to paste that into the chat here. And what I'm going to actually need to do is I'm going to need to do this all on a CudoCompute node so that I can have everything all in one place rather than fiddling with Git, which will take us a little bit of extra time. But normally I develop this on a Git branch and I would push it up to remote. I would pull that down on the cloud instance and I would run things there. But we'll go through a little bit of a different process here. So here we have the CudoCompute webpage. So we can see here, this is, well, let's actually just go to the home. We can see our project here. It's also got SSH keys, various things that we can interact with that will be familiar to a lot of you who've used cloud platforms before, such as the traditional Big Four. And so, yeah, with this, what I will need to do is I will need to actually, so I'm just going to use project 1, and I am going to browse the marketplace. And with my current account, I can only use the cheapest of them here, but that's fine for what we're doing at the moment. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin that up as a 2004. In terms of SSH, I am going to actually use a custom SSH key that I am now going to actually just cat my public SSH key here. So you may have to generate this yourself using, there's a good instruction manual on GitHub. So I think that is actually in the suggestions. It isn't actually in the suggestions here, but what I can do is I can get that link for you as well if you give me a second. SSH and GPG keys. Learn how to generate a GPG. So, and SSH. So, oh, what have I done? generating an SSH key. Generating a new SSH key and adding it. So depending on your system, you'll use different keys here. So I will just paste that link in there. So you may need to generate your own SSH key. I've got mine generated here. So I am just going to copy this into the SSH keys of the image that I'm spinning up. Name your virtual machine. I'm just going to call this showcode FE demo. And what else do I need to do? SSH. That should be good to go. So confirm and deploy. And so we will see that this one is now starting. So if we give that a few moments, we will have our SSH available. So you can actually just copy that SSH command from in here, and it gives you that IP address. But we'll just wait for this to start up our CudoCompute cloud node. So this is part of the CudoCompute platform, and it is our decentralized number of different providers to this compute platform. And so you can choose any of the virtual machines and spin up your virtual machine on the CudoCompute platform. We're also busy building out and soon to release a similar platform like this. However, it is callable from the blockchain itself. And that means that we're fully Web3ifying what we've built here. So let's just see if this is actually cool. So we are now active. So what I'm going to do is I am going to SSH into that machine, new fingerprint. So I'm just going to add that. I have a password on my SSH key. So let me see if I can get that one. Did I get it right? It looks like I'm in. So I am now SSH'd into this virtual machine on CudoCompute. Pretty simple, pretty easy to do. And so that's busy charging me $0.01 an hour at the moment. But any of you who want access to CudoCompute for the duration of the showcode program, we can give you access to a machine to test out your front ends on. But yeah, so we do have some stuff here that we then need to do. A lot of the information is all stored in that dev resources link tree. So what we're going to start with is down towards the bottom of the dev resources page, we are getting set up on CudoCompute. And this is for running Create Cosmos app on CudoCompute. So just towards the bottom of the dev resources, you will see that. So we're just going to copy our apt. Did I paste the right thing? It does look like I did paste the right thing. Yeah, we're just apt getting our, so just upgrading the system, just making sure everything's nice and up to date, since we've only just spawned this new node here. So just updating all the packages on Ubuntu. So we'll give this a moment while it does its thing. Luckily, these machines have a nice fast network connection to them, and so they seem to get their stuff pretty quickly. But yeah, you can also sort of see the next steps we're going to be doing here. We're installing Node, and so that allows us to then install our Create Cosmos app and Yarn, which allows us to start scaffolding projects with that Create Cosmos app that Aisha was also showing us a moment ago too. So we give it a few moments while we do while it does its thing here. Just have a sip of water in the meanwhile. So yeah, as I mentioned earlier, feel free to reach out on Discord, and I can add you to this Compute account that will allow you to use Compute for free on that small instance for the duration of the course, and that will let you test out things for yourself on the CudoCompute platform. It's also possible to run this locally as well, so you don't need to. Oh, well, as Aisha actually showed us. OpenSSH, let's just do the standard maintainer version. I have actually done this without running the update, but it's best to keep things nice and up to date. Make sure that there's no vulnerabilities in anything. But yeah, so yeah, feel free to reach out on Discord if you want access to Compute and try out things in the same way I'm going to show you now. It's definitely taking its time. Okay, looks like we're in. So that means I'm going to curl node, which is going to install node on this machine. And then we're also going to actually apt-get install Node.js, and we will also likely need Git. We probably don't need Git today, but Git's not too large, so we can add that one too. Now, we also, because we've installed Node, we have the Node package manager, so npm, and we're going to need yarn and the create Cosmos app. So yarn's installed and create Cosmos app as well. This will also be similar to the flow of actually installing this on your own dev environment too. So you can use this for that too. Okay, so now we're good to go. So the standard create Cosmos app command for the default is just create Cosmos app, and then it asks for your app name. But in our case, I want to show you something slightly more interesting. And we are going to use, where are we? Cosmology Tech, create Cosmos app. We're going to use the send tokens example here. What I am going to do, I'm in my home folder, so I am actually just going to create it right here. So let's just call this show code send tokens. So this will fetch that template from Cosmology, and we'll start to install that with yarn. And so that lets us scaffold a send tokens. It's actually a dApp, but it's a very simple dApp that's, rather than interacting with a custom contract, is actually just interacting with the built-in functions of a blockchain. So that's the interesting thing with modern blockchains, is that many of them have native functions built into them for handling things core to the platform itself. And then you can extend that functionality by writing your own smart contracts on top of that. So that's where the interesting stuff comes from, and where you get to build your own application-specific dApps for what you're up to. But in this case, all we're going to do is send tokens, which just uses the standard functions of what is core to the, in this case, the Kudos blockchain. I'm hoping this all goes according to plan, because this is the first time I am doing it. So what we're going to do is we're going to cd into showcode send tokens, and we're going to yarn dev. And you'll actually see that it starts on localhost 3000. Now, the port is actually open, so any of you can actually head to this now and actually see things running as we're doing them. If you just go to this 185.247.206.137 and then on port 3000, we should see. So it's just compiling, and it looks like we are starting to hit something running on the CudoCompute server here. And here we can see we've actually got this Create Cosmos app front end running on CudoCompute. So there is also, let me just post that link in. There's also been a request for the dev resources too. So let me, if I just share the link tree, that has the dev resources at the top. But this dev resources folder itself is here too. So you can follow along the steps towards the bottom of that. But yeah, so we have our Create Cosmos app running here. What I am also going to do is I am going to SSH in again. Password. I have to think about these things. Okay, so it is actually asking for a system restart. We're not going to do that just yet. Things are working just fine. And so what I'm going to do is, hopefully I've got Vim installed, because I need to edit 2 files within here, because at the moment you can see that it's connecting to the Cosmos hub. That's sort of the default location within the Cosmos ecosystem, but Cosmos is built of many different application-specific chains, Cosmos Hub being sort of the home hub of the Cosmos, but Kudos is also an application-specific chain for running powerful computing using this computing platform. And so with that, we want to switch over to the Kudos network. So I'm also showing you some of the stuff that Aisha may also run through in a little bit as well. But yeah, so for that, I need to change 2 files. I also need to remember where those 2 files are. So let me try and figure that out from, well, let me actually just, I think it's in components. No. So it may be, is it config? Because I need defaults.ts. That's the one. So I'm opening defaults.ts in Vim. So I am changing Cosmos Hub here to Kudos, and I'm changing it to the testnet as well. So you can connect it to the mainnet by just typing Kudos. Otherwise, the Kudos testnet is available here. And what this is actually doing is it's pulling all of the information about the Kudos testnet from what we call the chain registry. And so let me get you a link to the chain registry as well, because the chain registry is where all of the interesting information about all of the different chains in the Cosmos ecosystem sits. So there you can find a lot of information about the RPC endpoints and the way tokens are structured, the different assets on each. But all I'm using it for is to figure out what is needed for this. So also you'll see that this chain assets.assets, the base asset here is UAtom, which is the base token of the Cosmos Hub chain that we were on. But I need to change that to a Kudos, because that's the base asset for the Kudos blockchain. And so with that, I'm writing and quitting from Vim. That's how you exit Vim, by the way, :WQ, for anyone who needs to know that. Famous difficult problem that has many Stack Overflow people asking questions about that. And now I also need to find index.js. Aisha, if you know the shortcut to it, I can't for the life of me remember it, but index.js is sitting somewhere here. So that's index.ts. I need index.js. Where are we?
There's an index.js file. If you follow the server slash templates.
Server slash templates. Where do you mean?
Under the server, there's a server. Then there should be pages in your .next cache file.
.next.
So it's going to be. Let me just give you the exact. So it's .next slash server then slash pages. So there is an index.js file in that directory.
I actually have managed to find it. It is, sorry, it's not .js, it's .typescript. Sorry, Aisha. But thank you. Thanks for going hunting. I just figured that out. So it's in pages, it's index.typescript here. So I need to open that TypeScript. If I am in the right place, it's down to line 62-ish. So yeah, here we see we've got oh, I have opened VS Code, but we can't use VS Code because we are currently on our remote. So just having a look here from address, it all looks fine. Where did I need to change things? Well, either way, I think actually I didn't need to change things. And that's why I can't find it. Because, yeah, so you can already see, and if you head to the link yourself, you can see that this now says Kudos testnet instead of the Cosmos hub. So yes, I have confused myself, and I didn't need to go hunting for index TypeScript because the only config that needed to change was in that defaults folder there, the defaults TS. And so what that's given us is that's now given us the same front end, but it connects to the Kudos testnet. And so if I click Connect Wallet, it connects to the Kepler wallet, and it connects to Kudos testnet public 3 here. I can approve that connection, and we can see that it's actually added my, that's actually not the account I wanted to use because that's the Faucet account. I want to swap back to my own testing account. So you'll see in my testing account, I've got 5.726 Kudos available of testnet tokens here. So Kudos testnet public v3, you can see what chain we're on here. And so if I click fetch balance here, we can see that same balance, 5.726, has been retrieved from the blockchain itself. And so now I'm actually able to hit the send tokens button, and this will send that very small amount of Kudos tokens to myself, which it actually costs me more Kudos to send than the amount I'm sending. But nonetheless, you can actually see that this result has come out here. And so we can actually see on the Explorer, explorer.kudos.org, but we need the .testnet.kudos.org. Oh, can't type. Explorer.testnet.kudos.org. And if I then, this allows us to explore the different blocks and transactions. So if I go to my address here, I can see in the transaction history, 37 seconds ago, there was a call of the contract here. And if I go to, let me make this full screen so we can actually see things a little bit easier. If I go to that transaction hash, we can see that I sent a very small amount. So the 1D7 address sent a very small amount of tokens to that 1D7 address. So that is a working sort of dApp front end, but to the core functionality within a blockchain itself, and that's running on CudoCompute there. So that's pretty neat there too. Now also we have we are close to the end of the session time anyway. So what may make more sense is if we do a recording of Aisha's session. So Aisha, I don't know what if you want to carry on from here, or if you'd like to do a recording to give to everyone. Up to you. What do you think on that one?
Yeah, I was asking via a message onto this. I sent a message to you on Discord. So I was asking if it could be a recording or if we can have an interactive meeting on Google Meet tomorrow, maybe the normal time. So that was the question I asked you on Discord.
Yeah, so in terms of an interactive session with other people, other participants here as an extra session.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yes.
I mean, that could be quite fun, and we could record that one as well and add that, because I do realize we're reaching the end of the hour, and Aisha's one may take up to most of the hour as well to show that difference between the getting from a Create Cosmos app to a working dApp front end. So yeah, Aisha does actually have some recordings on that already. So some of you can also have a look to that now if you'd like to carry on with what you're busy with. So let me actually see if I can go to an awesome YouTube channel. You can see what it's.
Yeah, I think it's
there
right.
We go.
That's the channel.
Here is Aisha's YouTube channel. And
so it doesn't have any content. Would you check the playlist?
The videos, yeah. You just haven't pinned any content. There we go. So yeah, there are some videos here that Aisha's been awesome enough to create, which do show you some of that as well, if you'd like to carry on. But otherwise, we can also host a session tomorrow where we can go through more of that front end side. And yeah, with that, we are hitting the end of the hour. So as I keep saying, feel free to reach out in Discord if you struggle with any of that deployment and any of that interaction with a front end. You can try it first with the send tokens example like I showed here, which is an easier approach to the core blockchain functions. But when you want to take that a step further, you're wanting to instead use the CosmWasm example. So you will use if we come down here, this CosmWasm template example instead of the send tokens one, and you will use that and change the config for Kudos, and you will change the calls from being the contract address that they have in that to your own Kudos address, or to Aisha's address that's also in the chat. With that, yeah, we will plan a session for tomorrow as well. We've also been planning to do office hours, so we'll be able to help during those sessions too. But yeah, thanks so much for tuning in all, and we will catch you tomorrow. And thanks to Aisha for for what you managed to do there. It was useful, and we'll get those other technical issues ironed out. But hopefully you learned something cool today and saw the compute platform in action. We'll catch you on Discord. Have a great rest of your day, and we will see you then. Over and out.